I never thought flying to Seattle would feel this heavy. I'd only packed 2 suitcases, yet somehow it felt like I was dragging the weight of my whole past behind me. The taxi rolled to a stop outside Horizon Air's crew apartments, and as I stepped out, the cool Washington air hit my face like a quiet warning. Fresh start, I whispered to myself, forcing a smile. New city, new job, new everything. But even as I told myself that, another truth pressed against my ribs. I wasn't here only for the job. I was here for answers. Answers about what happened to Dad on this route. Answers the airline had never given us. Answers my sister begged me not to search for. My phone buzzed before I even reached the door. Maya, Aiden, please don't go digging. This is dangerous. Dad wouldn't want you getting hurt. I typed back quickly. Me, relax. I'm just starting a job. The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again, and then nothing. Typical Maya. Worried, protective, DA trained, impossible to argue with. But this was something I needed to do. Inside, I found my small crew room, dropped my bags, straightened my uniform, and stared at myself in the mirror. 23, too hopeful, too curious, and if you asked anyone back home, too soft-hearted for my own good. But this job might finally help me pay off loans, and maybe uncover the truth. 2 birds, 1 extremely reckless stone. The airport buzzed with familiar chaos. Rolling suitcases, loudspeaker announcements, passengers already complaining before they'd even boarded. My heart raced in that nervous, excited way that comes with being new. Aiden, right? A voice called. I turned to see Kevin, another flight attendant. Handsome, charismatic, and the type who smirked like life was an inside joke only he understood. Yep. First day. Oh, cute. Fresh meat. He winked, then leaned closer. Just don't do anything embarrassing in front of the captain. Ethan Cole doesn't tolerate mistakes. The name hit me before the man did. Captain Ethan Cole. The legend. The airline's golden boy. Known for aviation awards, professionalism, and apparently, a face sculpted by the gods themselves. I laughed nervously. Is he really that strict? Kevin sighed dreamily. Strict. Perfect. Straight. Painfully straight. You'll see. Before I could respond, someone behind us cleared their throat. A low, deep sound that vibrated straight down my spine. We turned. And there he was. Captain Ethan Cole. 6 foot something. Broad shoulders beneath a crisp pilot's uniform. Dark blonde hair slightly slicked back. Calm blue eyes that scanned the world with quiet authority. And yes, unbearably handsome. I froze for a second longer than was socially acceptable. His gaze shifted to me. You must be Aiden Blake. The sound of my name in his voice made warmth crawl up my neck. Why, yes, sir. First day. He nodded once. Professional, unreadable. Yet somehow that tiny gesture felt like an approval I desperately wanted. Let's have a good flight, he said. Just like that, he walked past us, and the air in the room shifted. Even Kevin stared after him. See, Kevin murmured. Straight, and criminally good-looking. Forget about him. All right? I'm not. I wasn't. I fumbled. He laughed. Sure. The flight started smoothly until Victor Ramirez boarded. He carried himself like he owned the world. Tailored suit, expensive watch, and a cold stare sharp enough to cut metal. Kevin whispered, "Drug lord rumors. Very dangerous. Don't upset him." Of course, minutes later, I upset him. While serving drinks, the plane hit light turbulence. My hand jerked and a splash of red wine hit the sleeve of Victor's ridiculously expensive suit. He stood so fast his glass fell. "You stupid." "I'm so sorry, sir." His voice rose, his face twisted with fury, and passengers began to stare. Before I could apologize again, someone stepped between us. Captain Ethan Cole. His presence was like a silent thunderstorm, calm but carrying danger. "Sir," Ethan said, voice steady, "I'll ask you to lower your voice. My crew deserves respect." Victor scoffed. "You'll compensate me for this. That flight attendant's salary won't cover even a button." "Then it's fortunate," Ethan replied coolly. That Horizon Air will cover any necessary cleaning. But if you continue harassing my staff, I'll ask you to step off this aircraft. Victor stared at him, shocked. I stared at him, breathless. How was this man real? After a tense pause, Victor sat back down with a muttered curse. Ethan turned to me. Aiden, you all right? My heart shouldn't have reacted the way it did. But his tone was gentle, softer than I expected from someone so guarded. I'm fine, I whispered. Thanks, Captain. His eyes held mine for a second too long. Good. Then he walked off, back straight, shoulders tense. Like he was angry on my behalf. Kevin slid up beside me. And that, my dear, is why everyone is in love with him. I'm not. Aha. Kevin smirked. Sure. But later, when I passed Ethan in the narrow galley, he gave me the slightest nod. Just enough to make my pulse quicken. And when his hand brushed mine while reaching for a drawer, a warm jolt shot through me. Maybe it meant nothing. Maybe it meant everything. But whatever it was, Captain Ethan Cole was not the man I expected. And Seattle was already becoming far more complicated than I planned. By the time we landed back in Seattle, my nerves were still humming from the earlier chaos. It wasn't the turbulence or Victor Ramirez's temper, or even Kevin's constant teasing. It was him, Captain Ethan Cole. Every time I glanced his way across the cabin, something in my chest tightened. He carried himself with this impossible mix of authority and quiet charm, like someone who had spent years burying everything he felt, which only made me want to understand him more. After we'd disembarked and the crew separated in the arrivals hall, I finally checked my phone. A new notification from a dating app flashed at the top. Room 419. Doors unlocked. Don't be shy. I blinked. What? I stared again, thinking it must have been a glitch or some cruel prank Kevin would laugh about for months. But the timing was too weird, too deliberate. I almost ignored it, but curiosity is a dangerous thing, and I had always been terrible at resisting danger. The hotel hallway was silent when I reached the 4th floor, the carpet muffling my footsteps. My heart pounded harder with each step towards room 419. This was either innocent or incredibly stupid. The door was unlocked. I hesitated, hand trembling slightly on the handle, then pushed it open. Hello? Is someone? I froze, because standing inside the room, towel around his waist, hair damp, and eyes widening in pure shock, was Captain Ethan Cole. What the Aiden? He said, gripping the towel tighter. My mouth dropped open. You're in 419? Yes, this is my room. Why are you here? I got a message, I blurted, holding up my phone like it would defend me. From a dating app. It said to come here. Ethan stared, then stepped closer. A dating app told you to walk into my room? He repeated slowly, like he was struggling to process reality. Yes, I don't know what I thought. I didn't think it would be you. His expression shifted. Confusion, then disbelief, then something else I couldn't. Aiden, are you telling me you thought I invited you here? My entire face burned. Well, not you, just someone. I didn't think you'd be. He exhaled, rubbing his forehead. This is a mistake. He moved past me, but I instinctively stepped aside too quickly and our shoulders brushed. Warm skin against my arm. The spark was immediate, sharp. He stopped. I stopped. For a moment, neither of us said a word. The room felt smaller, almost suffocating with tension. Aiden, he said quietly, you should go, right? Yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to. But when I reached for the door, his hand closed gently around my wrist. Not forceful, not controlling, just a touch asking me to pause. I turned. He was close, too close, close enough to see the hesitation in his eyes. Wait, he murmured. Please. The way he said it, soft, conflicted, almost desperate, made my chest tighten. Ethan? I whispered. He swallowed, voice unsteady. I didn't mean for you to walk into my room, but when you did, something in me, I don't know, panicked, and not in the bad way. My breath caught. He looked away, jaw tight. You don't understand what this would mean for me. You don't have to pretend in front of me, I said gently. I'm not judging you. That's not it. He stepped closer and closer until I could feel the heat rolling off his skin. I'm not supposed to want this, he whispered. Want what? My voice nearly broke on the words. He answered without speaking. His eyes dropped to my lips. My heart hammered so loudly I was sure he could hear it. Ethan, we don't have to. We do, he breathed. Then he kissed me. Not confident, not smooth, but trembling, terrified, restrained. Like he'd been holding this inside for years and it finally escaped. His lips brushed mine once. Soft, testing. Then again, firmer, breaking through his own walls. I inhaled sharply as warmth surged through me. My hands lifted on instinct, fingers hovering above his shoulders before finally settling there. Tentative, careful, asking permission. He didn't pull away. Instead, he deepened the kiss, still slow but no longer hesitant. As if he were memorizing the moment in case he never let himself have one again. When he finally broke away, he kept his forehead against mine, both of us breathing hard. Aiden, he whispered. No one can know about this. My heart twisted. Because you're not ready? Because if anyone finds out. He swallowed heavily. My entire career could disappear. Everything I've built. I softened. I understand. His eyes opened slowly. I'm not straight. I just don't know how to be anything else in the world I work in. My chest ached at the loneliness in his voice. You don't owe the world anything, I said softly. Least of all a lie. He almost smiled. A small, broken thing. You make it sound simple. It isn't simple, I whispered back. But you're not alone. He exhaled shakily. This stays between us. Please. I nodded. He released my wrist slowly, fingers lingering for a heartbeat longer than they needed to. Aiden, he said again, softer this time. I didn't plan for any of this. I gave a nervous smile. Me neither. Our eyes met again, and for a second I thought he'd pull me back into another kiss. But he stepped away. Good night, he said quietly. I slipped out the door, my pulse still racing, my lips still tingling. Down the hallway, I had to lean against the wall just to breathe, because I walked into the wrong room, and somehow ended up kissing the one man I was absolutely never supposed to want. The next morning I tried to act normal. Tried being the key word, because every time I blinked, I could still feel Ethan's lips on mine. That soft, trembling kiss that shouldn't have happened but did. My mind kept replaying the way he'd whispered wait. The way his hand had held my wrist like he was afraid I'd disappear. I spent the morning mechanically ironing my uniform while my thoughts spun like a washing machine on full cycle. By the time my phone buzzed, I jumped. Ethan, brunch? I owe you for last night's chaos. Sunny's Cafe. 11 a.m. I stared at the message for a full 20 seconds. He wanted to see me. Alone. Voluntarily. My stomach did a strange somersault. I typed back something painfully casual. Me? Sure. See you there. Sure? See you there? Why did I sound like a tax form? Sunny's Cafe sat on a quiet corner near the waterfront. Warm light spilling across wooden tables. Coffee grinding loudly behind the counter. When I walked in, Ethan was already seated near the window. Clean-shaven, hair neat, uniform shirt rolled at the forearms. God, those forearms. He looked up the moment I approached, and a flicker of something, relief, nerves, crossed his face. Aiden, he said softly, standing as I sat. Thanks for coming. His voice was different today. Gentler. You invited me, I replied, trying not to grin like an idiot. He smirked faintly. Yeah, I did. For a moment, neither of us seemed to know how to act. Yesterday we were colleagues. Last night we were something else entirely. And now, whatever this was, hung heavy in the air. We ordered coffee and pancakes. And once the waiter left, Ethan let out a breath as if he'd been holding it since I arrived. I didn't sleep much, he confessed. Thinking about work? I asked even though I knew exactly what he meant. He hesitated. Thinking about Everything. My chest warmed. Me too. Our eyes met and stayed there. Something about his gaze felt like a secret only we shared. But then the door chimed, and in walked a tall, well-dressed man carrying a bouquet of flowers. Kevin. Oh my God, I whispered. Ethan turned. Is that? Yes, I sighed. That's Kevin. Kevin spotted me instantly, froze, then brightened like he'd caught Santa Claus cheating on Mrs. Claus. Aiden, he exclaimed, sashaying over. Fancy seeing you here. And Captain Cole. His eyes widened theatrically. Well. Ethan stiffened. Good morning, Kevin. Kevin leaned over the table, lowering his voice. Are you two having brunch together? His eyebrows waggled like they were about to dance off his face. I began. But before I could finish, a woman's voice cut through the cafe. Aiden Blake, you better not be ignoring my calls. Maya. She strode inside, badge tucked away but presence screaming authority. Her eyes traveled from me to Ethan to Kevin holding flowers. Oh, Maya said flatly. We're doing this today. I pressed a hand to my face. It's not what it looks like. Kevin answered before I could stop him. He's having a romantic brunch with the captain. Obviously. Ethan choked on air. I kicked Kevin's leg under the table so hard he yelped. Maya folded her arms. Aiden, do you mind explaining why you're having brunch with your pilot? You've known him for 2 seconds. My brain went into full panic mode. So what did I do? The stupidest thing possible. This is Ethan, I blurted. My boyfriend. Ethan's eyes nearly fell out of his skull. I felt my soul leave my body. Kevin dropped his bouquet. Maya blinked once, twice, then dragged out a chair and sat like she was about to interrogate a suspect. Well, she said, this should be good. Ethan coughed, straightened his shoulders, and offered Maya a stiff, professional handshake. Captain Ethan Cole, he said quietly. Pleasure to meet you. Captain? She echoed, eyes narrowing like she was scanning him for lies. I didn't realize my brother was dating someone important. Ethan glanced at me, panic flickering in his eyes. We're, taking things slowly. I nearly passed out. Kevin watched like he'd bought popcorn for the event. Maya leaned forward. So, Captain, do you ever notice anything unusual? Strange passengers? Odd cargo? Ethan's expression stilled. Unusual? Why? Maya lowered her voice. Because Horizon flights, specifically yours, match the pattern of an ongoing drug trafficking route. My breath stopped. Ethan's jaw tightened. What? I whispered. Maya. Don't Maya me. She cut in sharply. Aiden. Dad died investigating a cartel that used airline routes. And now the same pattern is happening again. Horizon's Flight 782. Captain Cole's flight. Ethan's eyes flicked to mine. Not defensive, not angry, but terrified. I don't know anything about trafficking, he said firmly. Maya didn't look convinced. And Aiden, she continued, lowering her tone. I want you to quit this job. Immediately. No, I said instantly. Aiden. No, Maya. I'm not running again. Not after what happened to Dad. Her expression softened for just a second, pain pushing through her tough facade. You remind me too much of him, she whispered. That's what scares me. Before I could reply, Maya's phone buzzed. She stood. I have an operation tonight. An art gallery on Pike Street. We think it's a front for the cartel. Stay away from it, Aiden. I mean it. Then she shot Ethan one last suspicious look and left. Silence swallowed the table. Kevin mumbled something unintelligible and escaped the cafe like a man fleeing a crime scene. I finally turned to Ethan. I'm sorry, I said. I didn't mean to drag you into. Aiden. His voice was softer than I'd ever heard. A boyfriend? He repeated, eyes searching mine. Heat shot to my face. It just slipped out. He exhaled, shaky, conflicted. Aiden. People might hear things like that. People who can't. People who can't know about me. I know, I whispered. I'm sorry, but Ethan shook his head. No, I'm not upset. His gaze softened. Just surprised. Surprised. Not angry. Not disgusted. Not offended. Surprised. And something else, something almost warm. Before I could get lost in that thought, Ethan's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, and all the color drained from his face. I need to go, he murmured. Aiden, please be careful tonight. Are you going to the gallery too? I asked. He hesitated. I don't know yet. But he did know. I could see it in his eyes. He was hiding something. Something tied to the cartel. Something tied to Maya's case. Something tied to the route Dad died investigating. And even though fear gnawed at my stomach, I knew one thing for certain. Whatever Ethan was caught in, I was already caught too. And I wasn't walking away. Not from the mystery. And not from him. I didn't plan on going to the gallery. Honestly, I told myself a dozen times I wouldn't. Maya had warned me. She'd begged me to stay out of it. But when night fell and the city lights blurred across the Seattle skyline, I found myself walking toward the Pike Street Gallery anyway, pulled by something bigger than curiosity, pulled by fear, by instinct, by the feeling that Ethan was in deeper trouble than he let on. The gallery was buzzing, chandeliers glowing, jazz music humming, suits and dresses swirling like smoke. But beneath all that glamour was something cold, something wrong, like everyone was pretending to be here for art, when really, no one cared about the paintings. I slipped inside trying to blend in. Then I saw Victor Ramirez, standing at the center like he owned the entire room. And beside him, barely a few feet away, stood Ethan. My heart dropped. Ethan wasn't in uniform tonight. He wore a fitted dark suit that hugged the shape of him too well. But his face looked sharp, tense, far more severe than usual. He didn't look like the man who kissed me last night. He looked like someone trapped. Before I could call out, Victor leaned in close to Ethan, whispering something. Ethan nodded stiffly, jaw clenched, eyes scanning the room like he didn't want to be here. I felt sick. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't accident. Ethan was involved. Somehow, someway, and he hadn't told me. I took a step back, breath shaking. Why didn't you tell me? Who are you really? My mind raced. Just then, someone moved behind me and knocked a tray, sending wine crashing to the floor. The sound echoed sharply. Heads turned, including Ethan's. His eyes found mine instantly. Shock, fear, and something like heartbreak entered his expression. He mouthed my name. I turned and walked quickly into a side hallway lined with storage crates, trying to breathe, trying to understand any of this. A moment later, footsteps followed, quiet but purposeful. Aiden, Ethan called softly. I didn't turn. You shouldn't be here. That makes two of us. His voice came closer, warmer, but still trembling. Aiden, why did you come? I whipped around, anger flaring. Why are you here? Why are you with him? You lied to me. Ethan flinched. Genuine pain flickered across his face. It's not what you think. Really? I snapped. Because it looks exactly like you're working with the man Maya says is running a cartel. It's not like that. I stepped back when he reached for me. No. You kissed me, Ethan. You told me you couldn't be who you wanted to be. You let me believe you were trapped in the closet. Not trapped in a cartel's pocket. His voice broke. Aiden, please, let me explain. Then explain. He breathed out shakily and leaned against a crate, like his legs couldn't hold him. They threatened my crew, he began. They threatened to kill them if I didn't cooperate. They flew on my route for months. They forced me to look the other way. I tried to report it once. They sent a picture of my mother's house the next day. My anger faltered. I didn't choose this, he whispered. I've been forced into it. Every day. I'm terrified I'll make the wrong move and someone innocent will die. He met my eyes, and for the first time since the kiss in his hotel room, I saw the real Ethan again. Vulnerable. Good. Scared. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to drag you into it, he said. And because I've never felt like this about someone before. My breath caught. He stepped closer, voice barely a whisper. You walked into my room by accident. But it changed everything for me. I swallowed hard. Ethan. His gaze dropped, shimmering with fear. I knew the moment I kissed you that I'd already messed up. I knew I'd want more. I knew I'd risk everything. And that terrified me. I didn't speak, couldn't, because behind his fear was honesty. Raw, pure honesty. And when I saw you here, he added. Why? I whispered. Because Victor ordered you killed tonight. My heart plummeted. What? He saw you on the flight. He thinks you're suspicious. He wants you gone. Ethan stepped closer, gently cupping the side of my face, like he was afraid I'd crumble. You can't be here, Aiden. Please, let me get you out. My knees wobbled. You're protecting me. Of course I am. The hallway felt too small. His hand on my face felt too right. And the truth, the awful, dangerous truth, was suddenly clear. He wasn't betraying me. He was risking everything for me. Tears stung my eyes. I'm sorry, I whispered. You have nothing to be sorry for. I thought you lied. I did, he murmured. But not about the thing that matters. What's that? He moved closer, inches from my lips, breath warm against my skin. You, he whispered. Then he kissed me. Not like the first time, hesitant and terrified. This kiss was full, certain, hungry with everything he'd held back. His hands anchored my waist as if grounding himself. My fingers slid into his hair instinctively, pulling him closer, tasting every ounce of longing he'd buried. We kissed like we didn't know if we'd get another chance. Because maybe we wouldn't. A sudden noise, loud, sharp, snapped us apart. Voices, footsteps, men. Ethan grabbed my hand. They've found us, he breathed. Aiden, run. Before I could ask anything, he pulled me behind stacks of crates. Our bodies pressed close, his arm around me protectively. Stay quiet, he whispered against my ear. The warmth of him, the fear in his voice, the danger closing in. It all blurred into one moment where my heart beat so loudly I was sure the men could hear it. Victor's voice echoed through the hallway. Find the boy. Don't let him leave. Ethan's grip tightened around me. I won't let anything happen to you, he murmured. Not tonight. Not ever. For the first time, I realized something terrifying. Not even the cartel scared me as chaos exploded through the hallway so fast that I barely had time to breathe, let alone think. One moment Ethan was holding me against the crates, shielding me with his body like he could physically stop bullets with his bare hands, and the next, footsteps, shouting. Victor's men sweeping the gallery like wolves. Ethan pulled me close, voice low. We're moving. Stay behind me. He grabbed my hand and we sprinted down a back corridor lined with sculptures draped in cloth. The echo of boots pounding the marble floor behind us. My heart thrashed against my ribs, but somehow, even through the fear, all I could focus on was Ethan's grip. Steady, strong, desperate. He wasn't letting go. Not of me. Not tonight. Maybe not ever. We burst into a dim storage room, slamming the door shut just as footsteps thundered past on the other side. Ethan held the handle tightly, listening. My chest heaved as I whispered, You shouldn't have come here. I told you, he said breathlessly. I'm not letting anything happen to you. You're risking everything. His eyes snapped to mine. So are you. We stood in the shadows, panting, inches apart. Dust floated in the thin light from a small window. Even in fear, even in the middle of danger, the room felt charged, heavy with everything he'd said, everything we'd done, everything we couldn't take back. Ethan, I murmured. He stepped closer, brushing my cheek with a touch so gentle it shattered me. I didn't want this life, he whispered. I didn't choose it, but I choose you. Before I could reply, a loud crash hit the door. We both froze. They're breaking it, I breathed. Ethan grabbed my shoulders. There's only one way out, the emergency stairwell. When they break through, run. What about you? I'll hold them off. No, I whispered fiercely, shaking my head. I'm not leaving you. You have to, Aiden. His voice cracked. If Victor gets his hands on you, if he hurts you, I won't survive that. The door groaned as fists slammed against it again. Harder. Closer. Ethan. He suddenly pulled me into his arms, holding me as if the world was ending. Maybe it was. I'm so sorry for dragging you into this, he whispered into my hair. But loving you wasn't a mistake. Not 1 second of it. The word loving hit me like a tidal wave. I clutched the back of his coat. I love you too. He stilled, just for a moment, breathing in sharply like he needed those words to stay alive. Then he kissed me. Not gentle, not hesitant, but deep, urgent, full of everything we'd both been terrified to say. A crash echoed through the room, the door splitting. Ethan pulled away, eyes blazing. Run, he ordered. Go now. I hesitated for a heartbeat too long. Aiden, please. His voice broke, so I turned and sprinted to the stairwell door. But when I reached it, I looked back one last time and saw Ethan preparing to face men armed with more than threats. He looked powerful, terrified, brave. Mine. Then the door burst open, Victor's men pouring in, shouting, and Ethan stepped between them and me, fearless. Our eyes locked, the last glance before everything erupted. Gio, he shouted. I stumbled through the stairwell door and slammed it behind me, heart tearing in my chest. The stairwell spiraled down endlessly. My legs shook, adrenaline crashing through me. But one thought cut through everything. I needed to save him. I wasn't going to lose him. Not like I lost Dad. Not like this. Downstairs, sirens blared. DA agents swarmed the gallery entrance. Tactical gear, flashlights, shouts ordering people to the ground. And there, in the middle of them, was Maya. She saw me and froze. Aiden? Maya! I gasped, running to her. Victor's upstairs, and Ethan there. You have to. She grabbed my shoulders. Where? Storage room. He's keeping them away from me. Her face hardened instantly. All sisterly softness gone. To positions, she barked. Agents stormed the building. Maya pulled me aside behind a police car. You went anyway, she said, voice trembling with anger and relief. Do you have any idea what could have? But her sentence choked off when gunshots echoed from the upper floors. Ethan, I whispered. Maya didn't hesitate. She ran in after her team. I paced the pavement outside, every second stabbing deeper into my chest. The cold Seattle night felt suffocating. Sirens wailed. People cried. Officers shouted. And all I could do was wait, pray, hope. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, agents emerged, dragging Victor Ramirez in handcuffs. He shouted curses, kicking, but the fight was over. Then Maya came out, and beside her, Ethan, alive, bruised, shaking, but alive. I ran to him so fast I didn't feel my legs. He caught me as if he'd been waiting for that moment, his arms wrapping around me with a force that nearly lifted me off the ground. Aiden, he breathed shakily into my shoulder. I'm okay. I clutched him harder. I thought they. I'm right here, he murmured. I'm not going anywhere. Maya cleared her throat loudly. We'll talk later, she said, giving us a pointed stare before walking off. Ethan laughed weakly against my ear. Your sister scares the life out of me. Good, I whispered, still clinging to him. Now you know how I felt tonight. He pulled back slightly, his forehead resting gently against mine. Thank you for running, he whispered. Thank you for staying. His thumb brushed my cheek in a way that made everything else fall away. Then right there, in the glow of police lights, surrounded by chaos, adrenaline, and the end of a nightmare, Ethan kissed me again. Slowly this time, deeply, like a promise, like a beginning. When he pulled back, his voice was soft but steady. Aiden, I don't want to hide anymore. Not from you. Not from myself. Not from the world. You don't have to, I whispered. He exhaled, like he'd been holding that breath for years. I want whatever this is, whatever we are. I want it properly. No secrets. No running. I took his hand. Warm. Sure. Safe. We'll figure it out, I said. Together. He smiled, small and real, like he hadn't smiled in a long, long time. And there, under the Seattle sky, with police lights fading and dawn creeping over the horizon, we walked side by side toward whatever future waited for us. Scared, bruised, but together. And for the first time in a long time, the future didn't terrify me. Felt like hope, like a chance, like him.